So if you ask most people why they're struggling with losing body fat, the main reason you're gonna hear is a lack of discipline. And this is actually confirmed by a recent survey that I just ran. So technically, you know that you should be in a calorie deficit, that you should get enough protein and vegetables and do your weight training and do your steps and all of that, but you're not consistent with those habits, so you're not seeing results. And in this video, I wanna tackle this problem and I wanna share with you what you can actually do to improve your discipline so you can finally stick to your routine and get to your goal physique. So first off, why aren't we actually doing what we know is good for us? Well, there's a conflict because often what's really good for us in the long term demands quite a lot of sacrifice and effort in the short term, and we've evolved to do the exact opposite. And we have a tendency for something called the hyperbolic discounting bias. This is where we prefer an immediate small reward over a much greater reward that might come in the future. And we also have a restraint bias. This is where we overestimate the level of control we have over our impulsive behavior, while we underestimate how much impact being fatigued or being hungry has on our ability to make good decisions in the moment. This is often why we hear from people who say that Monday to Friday they're good, but then the weekend comes around and they slowly start losing structure and control and go completely overboard. And the truth is, many more people would be able to stick with their routines if fitness was the only thing in their life. If they could dedicate 100% of their mental effort only on this, they could probably pull it off. But that's not reality. There are a lot of competing commitments, including hitting that like button. So time, energy, and focus are being divided across all these different areas, which is what makes changing habits so difficult. So what can you do differently to make this work? Well, first you can reduce the reliance on so much discipline by leveraging automations and pre-decisions. 9 out of 10 times when I see someone falling off track with their diet, it's someone who's ending up in situations where they have to figure out what to eat when they're already hungry, they're super tired, they're mentally drained, and they're busy. So yeah, you could technically say that's a problem of self-discipline, not being able to make a good decision in the moment. But the way I see it, the real problem is a lack of planning and ending up in that situation in the first place. And let me ask you, which type of situations like this repeat themselves in your life that throw you off track and that you still don't have a plan for? Is it the weekends? Why not pre-plan a whole weekend, including some indulgences, and then just follow the plan? Why not do the same for an entire week in case you need it? Because you can make a plan when you're mentally fresh, when you're thinking rationally, you can invest a little bit of discipline then to save a ton of discipline later. And that's really how you're setting your future self up for success, because your future self is going to be dealing with stress. It's going to be stretched too thin. And now your future self has a fallback system they can rely on and just execute. Automating your diet and eating the same or similar meals every week is highly underrated. And the truth is, as long as you have enough variety week to week, and as long as you're eating a high quality diet that covers all your nutrient demands, you don't need to worry so much about variety every single day. And by pre-committing to what you're going to eat and following a plan, you reduce decision fatigue and how much discipline you need to stay on track. At the end of the day, the best diet is the one that you can follow consistently, the one that has you losing body fat, but also one that doesn't require so much mental energy to maintain. And I do believe this is where minimizing micromanagement and settling into a routine has good benefits. And you can always add some flexible food choices to the routine, but consistency should be priority number one. And you will really learn to appreciate this approach once you realize just how much simpler it is to stay on track, and of course as you see the body fat come off. Now, while automations can help us reduce the need for so much discipline, the second thing I want to talk to you about is how you can improve your self-discipline and make better decisions in the moment. And one of the biggest enemies getting in the way of rational decision making is mental fatigue. And we've all dealt with this one way or the other. For example, let's say you're having an extremely busy day at work. There are a ton of meetings, deadlines, expectations you have to deliver, people are calling you, you feel massively overwhelmed, the to-do list is huge, there's no end in sight, you don't even have time to grab a meal because there's just so much to do, emails to reply to, meetings to attend, stuff that you have to get done, and you just notice how the amount of mental fatigue you have progressively accumulates. And at some point, you reach a level where you just feel mentally drained. And that level then slowly progresses as it accumulates to a point where impulse control just goes out the window, you just say screw it, and you just grab whatever. You can order some food, some high calorie stuff, and at that point you're no longer making a rational decision thinking about your goals and your future. just grabbing whatever you want to eat now, and then you're going to rationalize it later on. And it doesn't always have to be this massive binge that has you gain a lot of weight, but it can be a couple of small instances like this throughout the day that are enough to get you out of a calorie deficit and you're no longer seeing any progress. So what can you do to avoid this type of situation? Well, the first thing you need to do is start becoming aware of your mental fatigue levels, and then start taking short breaks when you notice that you're nearing that quote-unquote screw threshold. And these short breaks don't have to be something special. You can take a quick walk. If you're working from home, you can take a shower, play with your pet if you have one. You can listen to some music. You can do a workout if you have the time, or you can do some deep breathing exercises. You can do something simple as walking out on the balcony, looking out in the distance, or lying down on the couch for 5 minutes. The goal is just to get out of that intense, focused, stressful state and just take a quick break. And that quick break is enough to not let that mental fatigue accumulate so much where you reach a point of complete exhaustion. Now, another thing you can do to massively boost your self-discipline and reduce how much mental fatigue you accumulate is to improve your sleep. And this is one of those things most people don't think about. Sleep deprivation isn't just bad for your body composition, where you're gonna lose more muscle and lose less fat in a calorie deficit. It's actually making everything else much worse. You're gonna have more cravings, you're gonna have less satiety from your meals, and you're gonna have more hunger, and you're gonna be more impulsive, and you're gonna have much worse self-control. Most people don't realize that their lack of discipline has a lot to do with their lack of good sleep. And the bottom line is that if you're sleep deprived, your ability to make high quality decisions consistently is greatly diminished. And here's a couple of things you can do to improve your sleep. First, instead of focusing on when you're waking up, focus on when you're going to bed and make sure you go to bed earlier. Second, get some daylight exposure early in the morning, and you can combine this with a walk for some great benefits. Third, limit your caffeine consumption only to the morning. Fourth, make sure that your bedroom is cold and dark. Fifth, make sure that you remove all electronics from the bedroom, or at least put them on airplane mode. And lastly, avoid doing any kind of mentally intense work right before bed. And I know this can be a bit of a chicken and egg problem. In order to get more self-discipline, you need to get more sleep. To get more sleep, you need to be disciplined enough to get to bed on time. So it can be that vicious cycle that a lot of people will have to work hard to break. And a tool that can actually help you with that if you're struggling with getting enough sleep at night is taking naps in the afternoon. A quick 20-minute nap has the power to restore your self-control and your ability to make good decisions, and it will really reduce a lot of that mental fatigue. So it's definitely something that I'm a really big fan of. And in general, when we're talking about improving consistency on the fitness journey, I really believe that we should be taking a much more holistic view and looking at both the physiology and the psychology. I get a lot more videos coming on these topics, so do make sure to hit that subscribe button below and the notifications by hitting the bell icon. Details for coaching if you want to work with me are in the description below. Also leaving another video here then is going to help you a ton. So check out the video and I'm going to see you right there.